Hey everybody, it's Angela, and I am back with a little video on binder ring mechanisms. I've had a lot of people ask me about the binder rings that I use in my altered books, and so I thought I would just go ahead and make a quick video on it. I get my binder rings either from Temu or from Amazon. I've gotten them from both places over the years. They do come in a variety of finishes. And like this one, you get all 5 pieces. So you're going to get a variety for this one. Some of them you just get 2 mechanisms, and there's a large variety of different ones. So I will tell you the ones that I use the most. And that is this size here, these smaller ones. And as you can see, they come in different width rings, so diameter of rings, so a smaller ring versus a larger ring. And there's a variety of finishes. And I like this size for the smaller books because it will fit in here like this. And sometimes I put the posts all the way through the spine so that it shows, and sometimes I will hide them in between. And I've done videos showing both options. So the size for this smaller book is, I wrote it down here, it's about 6.5 inches if you go from the inside to the inside of these opening thumb mechanisms on here. If you do the full mechanism, it's about 7 inches to hide it because you don't want them, you know, sticking above the edge of your book. So I like to kind of double check that. So these are about 7 inches from end to end. And then I get usually a 1 inch, this is a 1 inch, and then this is a 3/4 inch width ring. And it really just depends on the book that you're using, because each spine is going to be different if it's a thin book or a thick book, as to, you know, how big of a ring you can fit in the center of it, so without it like splaying out like this. So you really, I have just a variety of them, and then when I find a book, I find one that matches. But if you have a specific book in mind that you're starting with and you're shopping for it, those are the kinds of things you need to take into consideration. Is the width of your ring going to fit the width of your spine? And is the length of this from end to end going to be fit within top to bottom of your spine? So that said, the other size that I use a lot is for these bigger size books. And you can see there, this one I actually did a hidden spine, so you don't see the posts. The posts are, I slipped them between this outer cover and this inner piece when I screwed it down. And again, like I said, I have videos on that on my channel. And these bigger ones are like these. I have some variety of finishes here and a variety of widths of rings. And these ones that I use a lot are, they're 8 1/4 from the inside to the inside of the thumb mechanisms. And they're about 9 inches from the edge to edge of the actual piece. And like I said, depending on your book, you're going to want a different width of ring size. And my ones that I have variety of that I seem to use the most are either 7/8 or 1 1/4. I think this is the 1 1/4, and then this would be the 7/8. And so, but you can get them in all different kinds. And I also look at the widths between here, and that is only because I use a lot of Elizabeth Craft dies. And when I say that, I'm talking about these planner dies that Elizabeth Craft Designs makes. And they have Sidekick, which is these, and it cuts the page out and punches the holes for you. And so the Sidekick dies fit these smaller ones. So the rings holes will line up with this, and the pages will work with the Sidekick dies. These larger ones work with the Elizabeth Crafts. These are just called Planner Essentials. And as you can see, those fit this one, and it cuts out the page and it punches the holes for you. So I look at the width here and the width between. So the width here is 2 inches in this space, and then, or wait, that's for this one, right? Let me tell you the right thing. Yeah, it's 2 inches here to here and 3/4 inches in between rings. For the larger size, it is, I didn't write that one down, 2 3/4 inches and 3/4 inches for these big ones to fit if you're fitting Elizabeth Craft dies. Now, if you don't use Elizabeth Craft dies and it doesn't matter and you're just going to use one of these hole punches, which I do that a lot as well. Sometimes I just do a blank page or a scrap page, and then I just kind of punch my own holes. I make a template and I just hand punch them, and that's fine too. Then you don't have to worry about any of your widths between anything because you're going to punch them custom. And as you can see on this, you're not limited. Because I have the Elizabeth Craft dies, I'm doing ones that have 6 ring, but there's 3 rings, there's 9 rings, there's 4 rings, you know, there's all kinds of things available online. So that really gives you the options. Now these little 2-ring ones, I do have some of those from back in the day from Tim Holtz had these ones. And he just had brads in his. He didn't have the screw-in posts like these ones come with. And when I say screw-in posts, I'm meaning these little guys where it has the stud, which you can either hide or show, like I gave examples of. And then this little screw part is what you screw in from the inside, and it screws in there, almost like remember the old post-bound scrapbook albums that we used back in the day? Well, these are posts like that, and that's what holds these in. Now, Tim Holtz, for his little 2 ones, he just used brads, which you could do even with these, but it's just not, these get pretty heavy. So I would think the brad might just pull out if you didn't use a post. But for like these, I've used these before, like you can see on my, this little veterinary manual. I used the thing, and yeah, and I used the brads, and what I did was I affixed the brad through this piece of cardboard, and then I glued the cardboard down, so the brad's kind of glued in between on the spine. And then I just custom cut the 2 little ring holes on there. So so that works good for this smaller little book that I had. It wasn't going to fit really because the thumb things would have shown. So I had these, so I used that for this album. And then there's also another option I was going to throw out there. I've used these sometimes too. And these are, they're like binder rings. You know, like where the single binder rings, except these are single binder rings that have been attached by a post here. So if you were just doing an album that was just like a little mini and it had these 3 holes, you could clip it together and make it more like a book. Instead of having 3 single binder rings kind of flipping around, you could have these which are attached by a post. Now, the only problem with these I found is, and I don't know if it was the supplier I bought it from, but sometimes they're kind of loose and they want to not stay closed. So I have to kind of dig through here to find ones that are nice and tight. I have to figure out a way, if there is, to make these tighter or something, or get a different vendor or whatever. But they are cool, and I have used them quite a bit for things, especially like little like recipe card albums. That's a good one. I did a little tiny camera shaped album, little flip album that I use these on. And so it's just another option that's out there in case you're looking for something that's more bookish and, you know, without having to use like a spiral binder or ring binder or something like that. So that's those. Oh, and I also want to mention sometimes they come, the ones from Temu, I noticed sometimes come with this bamboo spine. And I don't use that because I'm already putting it through a pretty thick book. So the post isn't thick enough or have enough room to go through all the layers. But I'm thinking of doing maybe like some kind of cloth album where I use this as the spine and then put the binder mechanism and sandwich it in between like a fabric album or something like that. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these, but I just want to let you know that some of them come with that you can use it for whatever you want to use it for. I don't know. Maybe you have an idea besides the cloth album. Let me know. And so that is pretty much everything on the binder ring. That you're going to have to do a search for binder ring mechanism on the platform of choice, and then you're just going to have to go by the book that you have, you know, your length and your width of your spine, and then what finish you would like for the style that you're going for. Also, when you measure your book to choose, I would measure it in inches and in millimeters because most of the places are going to use millimeters when you go to order. And if you know what your A5, A6 or whatever, I'm not sure what these are. I think this would be the A6, but I don't quote me on that. But if you find out which one yours is, then you can just reorder by these standard sizes that they have on the bottom. But make sure you know in both inches and millimeters before you go. I like this one that has all those rings. I might get something like that. There's another one that has like a whole bunch of rings down it. I don't know if I have a printout of that I'd like to, no, I don't, that I'd like to try. Now, as far as pricing, like this one, I think you get 2 mechanisms. Yeah, a pack of 2 for $3.68, which isn't bad. That's, you know, about $2 per mechanism, which isn't necessarily cheap, but there's a lot of, you know, metal here and shipping. And as far as craft supplies go, $4 isn't, you know, that bad of a price. I mean, look it was back in the day. I got this at Tuesday morning for $1.49, but it's saying it was $4 for this for 2 of them, and it didn't even have the post nor as much you know, metal or shipping involved. So as far as craft supplies go, it's relatively inexpensive. So anyhow, I think this is most of the information that I have for you guys. If you have any other questions in regards to this, just let me know. I love using this option just because it, I can change the pages out, and I don't feel like when I have a sewn in one, if I mess up a page when I'm decorating it, I feel like I've ruined the whole book. Or if I outgrow the style or want to change it up later, I can just take the pages out and redo it or something, or reuse the mechanism or whatever. It just gives me more options and a little more flexibility. I do sew-in ones as well because I love that look, and there's nothing that's going to take away from that. And for certain purposes, that's what I want. But a lot of times I just like to, yeah, have the ease of having a binder mechanism in there. So anyhow, if you have any other questions, just let me know. And thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.